Hey everyone, it's Miss Stuti. I miss seeing all of you, I miss doing STEAM with you, but it's exciting to connect with you all on social media. So today for 5-minute science, we're going to do DIY greenhouses. So what is a greenhouse? You've probably seen a greenhouse when you're driving by. It's this big area. Sometimes they're green. They're like these kind of transparent houses and they're just filled with plants. Maybe you have a small one in your backyard that has like plastic over it and you put plants in there. And what does it do when the sun heats it up? Because of the plastic, it gets nice and toasty in there. And then even if it's kind of cold outside, the plants inside are nice and warm and they can grow. So because we live in the Midwest where we don't really always have warm weather, but we also do need food year round, that's what people use greenhouses for. It might be like 30 degrees outside, but because of a greenhouse, we can use the sun and sometimes external power to warm it up so that we can always have food. When we're starting our own plants, we typically start plants around this time of year. So I'm going to show you all how to make a DIY greenhouse. So to do this, you just need a couple things. You need like a small container like this with a transparent lid. I got mine, it's like a salsa container. And you can make sure that like the lid can fit on pretty tight. And then you also need something kind of pointy like this. I used a thumbtack. And then you need some kind of seeds to start indoors. So seeds to start indoors like tomatoes, peppers, eggplants. If you look at the back of your seed packet, it'll usually tell you if it says start seed indoors, then you can use it for this project. But if it's like start seeds outside, so it's something like beans, you just have to wait until the frost is over. So I'm going to do tomatoes today. And then you need some kind of soil. I use like normal potting soil. It's never really been an issue when I use, like they have special seed sorting soil, but I've always just used whatever potting soil I have. And then you need some kind of tray to get the drainage. So first thing, you're gonna jab a few holes at the bottom of this container. Now why you're doing it at the bottom is because plants need a way to drain the water, because if it's just blocked off like this, it'll grow fungus because there's no movement of water. So I'm going to put a couple holes in there. And this will definitely be a step for grown-ups to help with. So we'll just make a couple until it looks good. There we go. That looks pretty good. Water will pass through there. And that's what this tray is for. The tray is to catch. This is kind of an ugly tray, but it's what I had. But you just use some kind of tray to like catch the water when it falls. Alright. Next step is we have our container in there. I'm gonna put some soil. And I'm not gonna put a lot of soil. I'm not gonna fill it all the way, but I'm just gonna kind of fill it like that. You want to fill it about 1/3 of the way. I suggest don't pick a container that's too big, like too deep, because that way when the seed germinates, it's just going to grow roots. It's not actually going to grow up. Alright, there we go. So we got this nice soil. And then now it's time to put in our seeds. Now whenever you're starting plants, even if you just want one tomato plant, you usually have to start a couple seeds because sometimes not all the seeds are going to make it. Sometimes some of the seeds don't produce the strongest plant. So you want to put a couple seeds in there because tomato seeds are, as you see, very tiny. So because this container is pretty big, I got about like 8 seeds, and I'm just going to sprinkle them around and kind of put them not too close to each other. Alright, so my seeds are there. They're not super easy to see, but they're inside. And I'm just going to cover this up with a little bit of soil, just so that the seeds are completely covered. Alright, so once you've covered it up, you can sprinkle a little bit of water on it, and then you'll be good to go. My soil was actually already moist, so I'm not going to put any extra water in there. So the last step is you're going to take this top, and this is where the greenhouse part comes in. You're going to poke a couple holes in there. Now why you're doing the holes is because we want the sun to heat it up, but we don't want it to overheat. And if it's overheated, if there's no ventilation, then the seeds could get really hot and then they won't germinate. Alright, I'm gonna make a couple holes in here. Alright, so that looks good for holes. I'm just going to take our packet, put it on top, and there you go. You have your own little greenhouse. You can put this somewhere on a sunny windowsill where it's going to get light in your house, and then as soon as you see the little like green parts poking out of the seeds, that's when you can take it off because they've germinated, and then continue to keep it indoors. How long should you keep it indoors is the plant needs to get strong before it can go outside, so it's typically going to go outside sometime in June, mid or late June depending on the weather. So once it sprouts, you're going to take the lid off and just let them grow. And then once it has 4 leaves, so it's going to grow 2 leaves and then it's going to grow 2 more leaves. So once your plants grow those extra leaves, you can move them to their own container. I use like Dixie cups, and then I'll use like big solo cups to like help them grow so that you're not overwhelming the plant with a really big container, especially if it's a small plant. So you can move it in a gradually bigger container, and then once you get to like a red solo cup level, it's ready to grow, and then it'll get pretty big, and then sometime around June or July, you can either put it in like a 16 or bigger gallon container outside, or you can also put it in the ground if you have soil that's good for gardening outside. But yeah, that's our DIY greenhouse. Please leave comments and pictures if you do this project as well, and of course stay safe, stay indoors. Thank you so much. Bye.